Hey guys, what's going on? So I admittedly tried to record this video yesterday and it just didn't work out, so we're doing it today. And this is all of my thoughts before the inevitable update, which should be pretty soon for 20.1. So the only thing that they haven't announced is the changes, the balance changes, and that's like probably one of the most important things that I really wanted to talk about, but they haven't announced them, and so I'm going to make an entirely separate video for that. But this is going to be really long. Like most of my videos, you can probably just listen to this in the background, play it, listen to it in the background. Everything that I'm going to show you on screen is probably not important. If you go to the Discord for Godlike Mike, he has all of this information. He's just reposting all of Rush Royale's information, but he does have this, which I am going to talk about at the end of this video. But I did want to go through really quickly all of the key points and my thoughts on them. And for everybody who thinks my videos are too long, here's a 2-minute version of this video. Beach Party. I love because any event where they give you free new things is good. Anytime you can get free gifts for doing stuff is good. Anytime that you don't have to pay. I mean, I trust that there will be like a pay option, they're doing battle passes for everything. But the fact that they're giving you daily gifts and special tasks, and if anything, this is probably going to be quests. I don't think this is going to be a full event. I think it's going to be like quests, but that's my speculation. But in any case, it's good that they're giving you free stuff. New monsters, new challenges. I'm going to go in depth into this, but I think that this is a good change. I think it'll affect, if you're really early on in the game, you will not progress as far as you used to. But then your opponent at the same level as you will not progress at, to where you were at before, because I think it's going to be a lot harder earlier. And then for the super late game players, it's going to be a lot harder later. If you were like a mid game player, like if you can get to triple bosses, or double bosses, or maybe early triple bosses, I think the game will feel the same. But if you could never get to double bosses, I think that it's going to be a lot harder. And if you could get to triple bosses, it's going to be a lot harder over there. The Summoner, I think that the first talent is really good. I think that the 11 and 13, 11, I don't think is that important. And then I think that 13 and 15 are paired. So those are your choices. You can either go 9 or 13, 15. But like getting an 11 is not as important. So your next big hurdle is 13. But if you have 13, you have to get 15. And that's how I look at it. I think that Summoner is good at 9, is what I'm trying to say. Hero changes for the trainer. I think that a lot of people are speculating that it's better than Gadget. It is not better than Gadget, and it won't be. And if it is, they will change it. But essentially, the reason why it's not better than Gadget, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think that the changes are good, and I think that if you have it at high level, it's going to be really good. Like if you have it at 15, if you have that 15 dummy talent, I think it's going to be really good. But I don't think that. I think that the best thing about Trainer being as good as it theoretically might be is that it's easy to get. Trainer is just shitting all over Bestie for best, common hero. Like Bestie is terrible. Just don't even use Bestie. Post 20.1, really don't use Bestie. I think that it's like on par with like Jay. Although Jay gives you tiles. I don't know. I'm going to talk about it when I talk about Trainer. But I think that it's better. I just don't think that a common hero is ever going to be like, it's going to compete with a legendary hero is what I'm trying to say, or an epic hero. Sea Dog, I don't have a lot of opinions on. If you like playing mini games with yourself, then you'll love Sea Dog. And if you don't understand what mini games are, I will talk about it later. Sea Dog is just a big mini game. It's if you like playing with growth tiles, if that is a game that you like playing, you will love Sea Dog. I currently don't even have a Banshee, so me talking about a unit that might be kind of okay at 15, or might be kind of okay in a toxic 13 deck, a level 13 deck. I don't know. Like it takes so much investment to get these things to max level. And so for me to say like whether or not I think it's good in the end game when I don't even currently have a Banshee, it sounds kind of crazy. But I will talk about Sea Dog or Sea. It's not even called Sea Dog anymore. They just changed the name. So they announced it as Sea Dog, and now it's called something else. Now it's called. Oh no, it is no. Is it called Sea Dog? Was it a Sea Wolf? Now it's called the Sea Wolf. Even in the in their thing, they called it the Sea Dog, but then in the video, they called it the Sea Wolf. I don't know. It's gonna be should have been called the Sea Taint. So balance changes, and then another number of other new features and improvements. So that's my too long didn't watch for this, and I'm gonna break this down now. So the changes in PvP, like I said, I think that they're good. I think that it's going to separate the boys from the men. I think that it's in addition to having all of the current things that you have, regular monsters, banner lords, vortex. I think that adding all of the co-op monsters are going to be good for the game, in the sense that games need to be shorter. They need to figure out a way to make games shorter without actually shortening the length to get, or the journey to get there. There was a part of me that thought, what if you just started, because like I know that my Bloomy Dash Blade Dancer deck can get to triple bosses. Why don't I just start in triple bosses? And the reason why is because you need all of the stacks for Blooming Dash to get there, right? So even though you know that, 10 minutes from now, 1 second, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay. So even though I know that, 5-10 minutes from now, I will be in the game still, and I know this Max Inquisitor, Max Dryad deck is also going to be into triple bosses as well. Why do we have to waste all of this time in the middle? Like, why can't we just get to that part of the game? And the reason why is because the journey. You have to get there somehow, and you have to, build stacks, and you have to, let RNG happen, because it could screw either player over. You're pretty sure it's probably not going to, because you have a good enough deck, but it could happen. You could make a wrong merge, and that journey is part of the game as well. But at the same time, they have to figure out a way to lessen, or to give you more obstacles in order for you to trip up into that journey. And when they didn't have anything, when they didn't even have Vortex, right? And it was just monsters, banner lords, bosses, single bosses, mind you. You could go forever. There were games that were taking an hour, 2 hours. And that's because the deck at the time was the Corsair deck that dealt infinite damage. And it was when is this ever going to end, right? And so what they did was they decided to add things to PvP to make it more complicated. They added Vortex, they added double bosses, they added triple bosses. And all of these things factor into making games shorter. I think that adding the mini pudding, the gazer, the mana guy, and the bomb guy, I think that all of that contributes to that same double bosses, triple bosses thing that separated people from getting there. They're also adding that starting with wave 5, monsters and mini bosses will take less damage with each new wave. there will be like a little percentage of like the damage that they're taking less. So over the course of the game, even to people who could get to triple bosses, they will be taking less damage. So not only are they gaining more health, they will be taking less damage. It's to cap out the amount. It's to cap out the amount that you have to do in order to get further. To people that could already go, 100 billion damage, it's not really necessarily going to affect them as much, but it will make that game a little bit shorter. And I think that that's good. They're also shortening the boss waves. The time until the boss wave from 6 to 8 will be reduced to 50 seconds as opposed to like a minute 30 or whatever it used to be. And then starting from wave 9 to 40, starting from wave 9, it's 40 seconds. So you're not even getting a full minute at starting from wave 9. And so having only 40 seconds to recharge, you're getting less time on your heroes, you're getting or your hero power, but you're also it is also just speeding you through the harder process of the game. And I think that that's good. I think it's it's a change that needed to exist, because having to play games that are just really, really long, and then losing that game is really defeating. And I don't think that they want you to be playing 40-minute games every game. So I think it's a good change. I'm going to talk about Summoner and Sea Dog at the end. So I'm going to talk about Trainer. The abilities of Trainer have always been, it's really good on a boss round. When you want to nuke down a boss, because you activate Trainer and then you get an attack speed boost and you get a damage boost for all of your units, and then when it goes away, it's gone. Right? That was always the thing. It was always really good at, and then theoretically during a wave, you could stop the wave and then hopefully your opponent will die. You also get like the speed boost and the attack boost, and then you could like fight back the wave, but then you wouldn't have it during the boss round. So you had to choose whether or not you wanted to try to nuke down the wave so that your boss round is easier, or you wanted to try to nuke down the boss because you thought that all of your single target damage could deal a lot of damage to a singular boss easier. They've changed this a lot. So combat training, which is the initial thing that you will get at level 1, it summons the dummy on the path to stop them, as it did before. But it also does they added the attack speed boost initially, as opposed to a level 5 thing. The level 5 originally was the attack speed boost. They've now combined that into, once you get Trainer, you automatically have it. The explosive surprise with the extra crit chance or the crit damage is now the level 5 ability. And that used to be like the level 15 ability. So the level 10 ability is going to be the increased damage. So obviously the increased attack speed you're initially getting. The explosive surprise, I think that'll drop off. I trust that that'll drop off, and that won't be as good like late game. And so what you really want is a level 10 Trainer to get the team boost. The team boost is going to be the increased damage. It increases damage dealt by the player's unit while the dummy is on the path. The damage bonus is doubled. It kind of sounds, the way that they've worded that, it makes it sound like just having Trainer existing, you get a passive damage boost. And then when you activate it to put the dummy on the field, you're getting a double damage boost. If that's the case, I think Trainer is really good. If they're giving Trainer a passive damage boost all the time, like just having it exist as your hero, if all of your units, for any percentage of damage, I think that makes it good. And then you get double damage, and then you get attack speed when you activate it, I think that would be really good. At level 15, you get recruit training. So when a unit appears, when you summon in a unit with a certain chance, you have a chance to summon in a a dummy onto the field, onto the path. So that's the path that the monsters take. When that dummy is on the field, you get all of your bonuses. So you get your attack speed boost, and you get your damage boost. If a monster touches it, it immediately dies, and then your boost goes away. I trust that this doesn't stack. Like if you were to summon in multiple things and like multiple dummies were on the field, I trust that it doesn't stack. And I think that this is the reason why people are thinking that it's better than Gadget, because then it feels like you're getting the boost all the time. The problem with Trainer before was it was on activation. So you had to, like I said before, you had to choose whether or not you wanted to use it on a boss round or a wave round. And the reason why Gadget is better is because even though it's a lesser boost, you had the bonus all the time. You just had to have all of the tiles on the field over the course of the game. And Trainer was just easier to obtain. It was both easier to obtain and it was easier to just activate whenever you specifically needed it, and you to get the big damage boost and the big speed boost. I think that we're gonna have to see what the numbers are for Trainer, what these percentages are, how exactly what the percentage of you summoning in, like how often will that actually occur? Because in practice, what it sounds like, it sounds really good. But if the percentage of a summon in is really low, maybe it's not that good. And this is the difference. Something can read really good on paper, and then in practice, it's really bad. A 1% chance for Blade Dancer to do the tornado effect sounds really bad on paper. But how often does that thing activate? A 15% chance of a Shinobi doesn't sound terrible, but how often does that thing activate? Like, so it really we're gonna have to see what the percentage numbers are on these, and what they how often they activate, and what the percentage numbers are on how much attack speed boost are you getting, how much damage boost are you getting, how often when you summon in a unit will the dummy appear, what are the numbers. There's a lot of numbers that will determine whether or not this thing is good. For right now, I want to put it a little bit below J, but above Bestie, Trainer. It's better than all of those other things. I want to put it on the same level as J. I think it might be better than Elementalist, but again, we'll have to see the numbers. But those are my thoughts on Trainer. And I think that we are already at Summoner Talents and Seawolf Talents. Okay. So the way that Summoner works, Summoner always had a problem in that the mana level up for power, for the damage, never mattered. People just, it was one of those things in co-op that you just kind of forgot about, and then you had you have 50,000 men, and you're like, I guess I'll upgrade this, bloop, 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 bloop. Right? I love that they are actively changing abilities, changing functionality of cards. The Cultist ability always made sense, giving it more power, but when they changed it to be a sacrifice thing, that made sense. It's a cult. They sacrifice things. They, the demon aspect of Cultist. So when they changed it to completely change the functionality of how you even play Cultist, I thought that was a good change. I similarly think that this is also a good change. It makes me more confident that they're going to change Harlequin and Scrapper, because those activated abilities don't matter either. But then, then you have a thing like Dryad, where the second talent, when you mana power up, you can actually give a fairy to a thing on the field. And then it's all fairy based, right? So that, they might keep it or they might change it. I don't know. But I do like the change that they decided to make here. So essentially, the mechanic now is when you use Summoner, like when you have a summoner and a mime, right? You summon the thing, and let's say you get a level 2 unit, but your extra unit is a level like 1 unit, right? You have a reroll. So similarly to similarly to tournament PvP, when you have the reroll talent, and you press the reroll and you can reroll the same thing, and like let's say you get like another summoner and you want a dryad, you can reroll it and then it becomes a dryad. You can press the button and then it becomes a dryad. Similarly to that, that is your new summoner activation. The summoner's mana power-up allows you to replace the last unit he summoned with a random unit from the deck. So initially, you can only do it once, and you can only do it in a 20-second interval, unless the reason why in this video is that he has a maxed out summoner. I'm not sure, but it should be 20 seconds or more. I can't imagine it being more, because then it would just be useless. But so I'm pretty sure that at any level, I'm pretty sure it's on a 20-second cooldown. I don't think that will be affected by level. If it is, Summoner is really bad. I'm not going to say, no, Summoner isn't bad. It's just much worse than what I thought. So here they're showing the ability. He just used the Summoner. Here he just used the Mime. He got a level 2 Mime, and then he got a level 1 Dryad. When you use the ability, you can then re-roll that thing into a Demon Hunter. Or, you know, it takes a random thing from your current deck. And that's its base functionality now. And I think that that's good. So it doesn't re-roll the level 2 thing. It re-rolls the thing that you just got from it. The level 9 talent is, like I stated in the beginning, I think that's where it shines. I think that it goes 9, 11 is useless, and I think 13 and 15 are paired. So if you can either stay at 9 or you can max it out. Because if you get 13, I don't think 13 is good without 15. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's as good without 15. People are calling 11 the toxic talent. And so if you run it in a deck with people are already like thinking about like Harlequin, Mime, like Shaman, Robot, like building a robot deck, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So the way that the first talent works, which I think is the better one, I think the enhanced summoning is the better one of the two. And this is worded really weirdly. And I think I trust that they'll translate it better when they release the patch notes, or when they release in the game. There's a 30% chance of the summoner becoming an oracle of the summoner becoming an oracle. So, like most cards that are now in this game, you now have the ability to summon an enhanced version of a regular summoner. I'll showcase that in their video here. It does look different. Okay, so right here, you see 3 summoners, and then one of them has the gold thing in their hand, and then the other 2 have just regular spirits. The one with the gold thing is the oracle. So there's a 30% chance of the summoner becoming an oracle when merging the oracle, it'll summon 2 units. And then they always say besides, but what they really mean is in addition to. So in addition to when merging the oracle, it'll summon 2 units. In addition, the unit replacement can be applied up to 3 times without needing to recharge. So multiple summoning works where when you merge an oracled summoner, right? And that's summoner on summoner or mime on summoner, whatever you want to do. When you merge an oracle, you get 2. So not only do you get that thing to level up, but you also get 2 extra units that can also be re-rolled. But the way that works is they both re-roll at the same time. Now, I don't know if it's a Dryad, if you could use the Dryad and then re-roll the other thing. But if that's the case, I think it's really good. I would still use the other one. So right here, that's the re-roll. He's going to merge onto the Oracle. He gets the 2 extra ones because he's using the double summon. And then now he can re-roll it 3 times. And that's without having without having the mana or the mana power activation. It's not using that. And you can just re-roll it 3 times through the ability. But see, like, if you get a Dryad, can you use the Dryad and then re-roll the Demon Hunter? That's my question. And if you can, and if you using the Dryad doesn't stop the chain, I think that it's really good, because then you can just keep re-rolling for Dryads, or for for robots in the case of like building a robot deck. But yeah, I think that would be really good. But I do like enhanced summoning more. So it still has the same 30% chance of the summoner becoming an Oracle when you summon it in. When merging an Oracle, the merge rank of the summon unit will be higher by 1. So normally, actually, I don't know how this works. Okay, so if you have a level 2 summoner, right? Your new unit can either be a level 1 or a level 2. I don't know if they mean that it will always be a level 3 if you summon a level 2 Oracle. If you use if you combine a level 2 Oracle summoner, if it'll automatically become a level 3. Or if they're saying in their random number generator, let's say it was going to become a 1, now it's a level 2. If it always becomes a level higher than the actual summoner, I think that's really good. And I think that this would become the better thing to use, because you will start, this will just like snowball. And you will get, your field will just increase exponentially. And then if that wasn't enough, like, so let's say like you have a level 3 Oracle and you merge the Oracle, and then you get a level 4 unit that can also, because remember, you can also re-roll it. So you can have terrible things, but you can also re-roll that. So not only will you get a level 4 thing, but also replacement will turn a random summoner of the highest rank into another unit. Activating talent and summoning, activating the talent and summoning an additional unit. The problem with summoner, for its entire existence, is having a summoner on the field that you don't care about and you can't merge out. So like merging 2 level 4 things and getting a level 5 summoner. This allows you to use the replacement to turn a random summoner of the highest rank into another unit, activating the talent and summoning an additional unit. So not only will you then be able to activate a summoner to make it turn into something else, but it'll also give you an extra unit. And if this is how it all works, enhanced summoning is much better. This is all based on oracles, and this is all based on you obtaining, or you summoning in an oracle. And 30% chance, I want to say, what's Meteor? Like, because Meteor has the same talent thing. I feel like Meteor has the same thing. I hate when it does this. I have this open and like it's like no. I feel like Meteor has the same kind of ability where sometimes you get an enhanced Meteor. 40% chance. So you have a 40% chance of Meteor appearing on the battlefield with a Flame Orb. I feel like you get Meteor a reasonable amount of time, but this is less than that. It's 10% less. So we'll see how often you get an Oracle. But even if you don't get an Oracle, I think that just the change in general to Summoner's activated ability makes it good. I'm going to quickly go through Curse of the Spirit and Blessing of the Spirit. They both basically act in the exact same way. When a summoner appears, there's a 20% chance guaranteed that an Oracle will appear. I don't think that was... Wait. So, there's a 30% chance of the summoner becoming an Oracle. And then the second one is when a summoner appears, there's a 20% chance that an Oracle will appear. So is that a 50? The wording on these things are just so awful. When a summoner appears, there's a 20% chance guaranteed when the Oracle appears. When a summoner appears, there's a 20% chance that when the Oracle appears, that the cost of summoning the next unit will be increased by 20% up to a value of 40%. I don't even understand how this activation works. There's so many numbers there, and like the wording on these things are just so terrible. But the takeaway that I get from both of these is next unit. People are trying to say that this is going to make mana cost so high, and that if you run the robot deck and you run this with mage robes, like with the maxed out mage robes or something, that you're going to deny them mana for, like so much mana. But you have to understand that it only works for the next unit. So no matter how this works, you're only messing them up for the next summon in. And after they summon in, then you're not. Mana isn't as important as most people think. Maybe it is like early game, or I'm sorry, when you're during early play. Like if you can't get to double bosses and triple bosses, maybe that is when mana is really a problem, because you can't get to your singular units. You're not at a crit chance where you can deal damage quickly. But once you start getting like max legendaries, and your level 1 units have the ability to get you to double bosses, mana doesn't matter as much as this would suggest, or that this would be good. The Blessing of the Spirits is basically the same thing, but it's for your cost. And again, I don't think mana is as important as most people think, which is why I completely disregard this talent as being like... It's basically like the poisonous fruit to me. It's the poisonous fruit talent that Dryad has. I think it's okay. It's a thing. But I don't think it's important to say level up your summoner to 11. But where this really shines is level 13. And I wish the level 13 and the level 11 talent would have switched, because then at the very least you could have two like really good talents early on, and then you'd have to work for your level 15 talent. Merging oracles will accumulate spirits. When the summoner summons a unit, it gives all of the player's units a 3% damage bonus for each accumulated spirit for 7 seconds. So the first thing that you have to realize here is merging an oracle, you get a spirit. So every time you get an oracle, not only are you getting the multiple summoning effect or the enhanced summoning effect, but you're also gaining spirits, which is just another counter for the game to use. And when the summoner summons a unit, it gives all the player's units a 3% damage bonus for each accumulated spirit by 7 seconds. So my problem with this is that it only lasts for 7 seconds, and it only lasts for on activation. So you have to like, it's just like you have to save an oracle and then merge an oracle, and then you get a damage boost, which is fine, but it's not a static damage boost. You don't always have it. The duration is increased by 1 second for each of the spirits. After 10, there's a 20% chance of activation of any unit when they appear. I think this means that once you get to 10, so you're getting a 3% damage boost for each accumulated spirit for 7 seconds. 1 second for each spirit. So you start at 7. After 10 activations, you would be at 17 seconds. And you would also be at 30%. If there is no cap on this, if there is not, it says after 10 spirits, you get 20% chance of activation of any unit when they appear. If there is no cap on this, and you can just keep accumulating spirits by merging oracles, I'm not saying that, like you're going to get to 30 oracles or anything, but I'm just saying, if there is no cap on this, and it can go beyond 10, that would be insane. Because even at 10, you're already at 17 seconds of 30% damage. And if it can go beyond that, I think that would be really, really good. And I feel like Summoner is really going to make Robot viable. I think you would use multiple summoning because you just need a whole lot of robots. As opposed to like bigger robots, you can make bigger robots with other things. Like you can have one Dryad in your deck. But yeah, I think that this is going to make Robot really viable. Because Robot always suffered because of damage. And if you run multiple summoning, Gift of the Ancestors, and then like Rage Dryad in your deck, I think it would be really good. Wrath of the Ancestors, it has basically like the same kind of effect. When you merge an oracle, you accumulate spirits. When the summoner summons a unit, it sends an evil flameling to the opponent, in proportion to the merge rank. Upon death, the flameling will reduce the speed of the opponent's units by 40% for 5 seconds. The duration is increased by 0.3 for each of the spirits. After 10 spirits, it's possible to activate them using replacements. It's the Toxic ability. It's the you're reducing the speed of the opponent's units by 40% for an amount of seconds, for 5 seconds. I think it's good, but I don't know what kind of deck it would fit into. Maybe the Toxic deck that exists anyway, but I don't know if it has the space for it. Like the Minotaur deck, the Minotaur, Frost, Witch, Harlequin, Mime, Shaman. Like it's another thing. I was gonna say if a slow deck existed, but the slow deck is already like a max version of a deck. The slow deck is the actually it probably would work in that one. There's a Dark Inquisitor deck that utilizes just maxing out one singular Dark Inquisitor with an enchant sword and then making your entire field summoners. But if you ran this, if you ran a summoner in that deck and like maxed or like used multiple summons to rotate into other Inquisitors, you could get Inquisitor stacks pretty quickly. And then early game you could get Dryad stacks really quickly. this might work in that deck, and then you could slow them out with your clocks as well as with this, as well as with Hunter Jacket. I think that might work. But again, this is like 13. This is like level 13. 13 talents on or 13 level 13 summoners. The last talent is with each 2 spirits received, the player's critical damage against monsters increased by 25%, and the opponent's critical damage against monsters reduced by 40%. The effect lasts 8. If more than 10 spirits are accumulated, then use of replacement will activate this effect, but no more than once every 10 seconds. Increase 25% crit damage. Again, it's just damage. With each 2 spirits received, you get 25%. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you're getting 125% at 10 spirits. And again, if this has no cap and you can just keep increasing, this is going to make the robot deck actually viable. Robot suffers from increased damage, and if this all works where there is no cap on this, even though it's like a little mini game that you have to play, like trying to merge oracles and then like rotating the things that you want, or the things that you get for the things that you want, I think it's really good. I think that the summoner is the thing that you will probably have at some amount of high level, and that's why I wanted to talk about it a lot, because I really don't want to talk about Sea Dog. So Sea Dog is basically just a giant mini game, and if you like using growth tiles and playing the little mini game that you have to play with yourself, I think you'll love this guy. But even at high level, I don't think he's that good. There's videos out there that exist. You can look them up. And I've seen like a maxed out version of a Sea Dog. And or Sea Wolf. Yeah, I guess they're changing it to Sea Wolf. I don't know. But I don't think that it's great. When you merge a Sea Dog, it creates a treasure tile somewhere on the field. And so it basically acts like the priestess, where with the damage tile, or the mana tile. And if you understand how ridiculously difficult that was to then merge onto that tile, that's what you have to do with this one. And the treasure tile will give you mana. And it'll also mana abilities move the treasure tiles around the battlefield. Rare treasures will give you additional treasures. Collecting treasures will increase damage and area damage for the Sea Dogs and temporarily increase their attack speed. So every collected treasure that you find on your field will give you a stack that increases your damage. The damage bonus for the treasure is 10%. The area damage for treasure is 5%. I trust that those will be changed around, because that seems like a lot per treasure. And it temporarily increases the attack speed as well. The rare treasures will give you additional bonuses, because in addition to merging a Sea Dog, you will also get rare treasures, and the rare treasures will do other things based on talents. There we go. The chance of rare treasure is 10%. The cursed treasure is the toxic talent that most people will probably talk about. When you receive a treasure, ghosts will be sent out to two random enemy units, paralyzing the target for 4 seconds. It's unaffected by shields and will not be removed by cleansing. So even if you move it with a Blooming Dash, even if you have a Dark Inquisitor, it will still stun that target, which means it will always work, which means that it's really good. The paralysis is, or no, after 20 treasures accumulated, an additional target will be paralyzed. It doesn't work in co-op or single. So once you get 20 treasures and it hits 3 things every time you merge something, every time you merge a Sea Dog, that seems pretty good. Maybe paralyzing targets for 4 seconds and having them not be able to, you could still merge them out, but they will still be the point is that they're paralyzed and that they will do nothing for 4 seconds. But you can also hit like useless things like a Dryad or an enchant sword. And so even though this sounds good, I don't think in practice it will be good. 4 seconds is a lot, and 4 seconds can, completely kill you through a boss. And I think that this will be really good against Dark Inquisitor, obviously. But I don't know if it's necessarily the talent to use. I would use Pirate Captain. There's a 15% chance of the captain appearing on the battlefield instead of a Sea Dog. When it appears, 1 treasure is buried. Captains of merge rank 4 or higher get an additional 30% damage. Having a super version of this unit on the field, I think is just a much better option. Get a Shovel is the thing that will make getting treasures easier. A Sea Dog of merge rank 4 or higher will dig up treasures on the tile when any other treasure is received. Treasures above the maximum will go to a random strongest Sea Dog with 3% damage for each one. So you have the ability to get a maximum of 40 treasures. Each of these talents give you plus 10. So then your maximum actually increases. So you get 50, and then you get 60, and then you get 70, and then I think the last one you get 80 as a max treasure. I think digging up treasures, if you have a 4 or higher, is good, but you still have to, like, on other tiles, you still have to, it's just such a weird mini game to play. Like, this entire unit is just, you have tiles on your floor that you have to merge onto. So, and then it'll move, and then you have to, like, merge a Sea Dog in order to get another treasure, and then it'll go to a different tile, and then you have to merge onto that tile to dig up the treasure. And I don't know, I just don't know if all of this is worth it. I think Explosive Surprise is what people will gravitate towards. When you receive a rare treasure, 3 bombs will be buried on the opponent's battlefield. If a unit appears that merges or increases its rank on a tile with a bomb, an explosion occurs, reducing the merge rank of the unit by 1. It's a shaman. So if they do anything on to that tile, if it appears, merges, or increases its rank. So if a unit is already on it, it doesn't do anything. But if it merges or increases its rank, it will go down by 1. And it just kind of sits there. And I think that's really strong. Because you can't just, like, merge it, because then the thing that you merge onto it will now be affected. I guess you could merge onto it and then move it with a Portal Keeper. No. Because it's on the tile. It's not even a debuff. The greatest thing about it is that it's not even a debuff that you can cleanse. It's on the tile. It's on the tile. So even if you were to, I'm thinking about Blooming Dash. Even if you were to move something useless onto it, and then what would you merge it out? What if you merge it away? I think if you merge it away, nothing happens and it'll still stay. But then when you summon onto it, if you were to move it with a Portal Keeper, then the Portal Keeper would die because the Portal Keeper doesn't have a shield. It's really interesting. I don't know. I think it's really good. But again, this is a level 13 talent, and I just don't. The more I read about Seawolf, because I knew about this like a week ago, And I was trying to like figure out my thoughts on it. If you really like playing these mini games with yourself, like a growth tile and then, treasure tiles and then merging onto treasure tiles and then merging away from it and then, like summoning in and then merging onto it and then merging away from it. If you like doing that, if that is like your play style, this is insane. This entire like kit is just insane. I don't know. I kind of miss the simplicity of Rush Royale. And I tend to shy away from decks like this. I don't even like using growth tiles just as its own thing. You were thinking about so many things in any given game that it's really hard to like also think about all of this. Like imagine you're getting like shamaned and witched and then all of this is happening. Like you're trying to merge onto tiles and merge off of tiles and get a level 4 Sea Dog so that it can dig up the tile, and then you're trying to merge more Sea Dogs so that you can get other treasures and then merge onto those so that like there's just so much thinking involved in this card that it's just not for me. And if you like doing that, if that is like your playstyle, I think that you'll really like this card. But again, even with all of that being said, I think that it's just so much work for maybe not enough payoff. If I see like really high level players like eventually playing this card, maybe it'll be better. But again, I don't even have a Banshee. I'm not going to max this out to a level 15, anytime soon. And I don't think that at early game, it's that good. I think that if you don't have a lot of legendaries, I think it's a fun card. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't think it's great. But those are all my thoughts on 20.1.